Thanks, Greg.
Okay, we are live. Welcome to another week of Chiropractic is Sexy. I am Dr. Paula Ruffin.
I am Dr. Erica Peabody, and we do have an anniversary, actually 2 anniversaries to celebrate, right? 25 and 28 for you.
Yeah,
so tell us about that. Tell us about that.
So 28 years in practice, 25 here in the community. And I'll give you guys the quick story. I was hosting an event here at my office yesterday, completely unrelated to my anniversary, because why would I remember my anniversary and actually have a party? I don't know. So one of the people who came, who was asking me how long I'd been here and, kind of a little bit about my backstory. And I said, oh yeah, well, I will celebrate 25 years on April 1st. And it was like, boom, hit me like a freaking brick. I know. I was like, oh my God, today's April 1st. And we all had a good laugh. And then I ran across to the winery, which is just across the parking lot. Thank goodness it was a short jaunt. And I got a couple bottles of champagne and brought them back. And we all celebrated and had a good laugh over my complete, brain freeze on that. Like, holy moly. So it was nice to celebrate. I know you and I are going to celebrate tomorrow, so that's going to be super fun. But yeah, it's interesting. I was just doing a video just talking about my, that's why I was jumping on late.
Yeah.
Just talking about a little bit of my origin story, which is, as you know, both of our origin stories require several, several videos to lay all of it out. So it's really, really incredible. And I think it's just a great segue into today's episode about with our combined experience and wisdom, how we see people who just, they don't want the simple, easy way. They try to complicate things. They want things done overnight, live their lives completely reckless. And I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of people who just don't know what the answer is. So I don't want to make people feel poorly about where they're at in their health, but it brings us to, it's not that complicated. And we've seen it over and over and over again. And, this is my issue with the whole biohacking community and cold plunges, which we've discussed that before. I'm not anti-cold plunge. I'm just like, if you are living with some chronic issues, you might want to fix those before you go jumping into a cold tub.
Yeah. Well, okay. So first of all, congratulations. Those are big numbers. And I really believe that the universe wants you to celebrate that, which we will tomorrow. But I'm going to challenge you going forward. Don't let that day go past again without actually realizing it.
And putting it on the calendar. I'm doing reminders.
Just doing something fun. Mine's March 12th. So we're pretty close. But okay. So what's really interesting. So I'm in this coaching group and I had posted a couple of weeks ago about like our record day ever at 21 years in. And this is one of the comments was 21 years in practice and still crushing it. So 28 years for you and still crushing it. But then they said, Dr. Erica, you rock over 2 decades of showing up on repeat. And I said, yes, it's about showing up the same way day after day, after day, after day, after day, after day. And that is not a small thing. And that is also super related to what we're going to talk about today, which is like, it's not every day that's flashy. It's not every day that there's a party. It's not every day that's the best day ever. It's not anything that's over the top on the daily. Also with our health, it's the boring, it's the mundane, it's the same foods, it's the same workouts, it's the same sleep, it's the same water intake, it's the same boring, mundane shit that gets you places. It really is. That's what gets you places.
I was in my networking group this morning. Like, this is so applicable to so many things. And we had a business in there, and they were an IT business, and there were 3 of them. And so we meet weekly, and they would take turns each. So we only saw one person every 3 weeks, the same person every 3 weeks. And I only met each of them like twice. And we went in today and they were like, oh yeah, they dropped out of the group because they weren't getting anything out of it. And I was like, what do you expect? Not one of them passed one lead to our group of 30 people. We have 30 members in this, and these are rockin' networking people. They never, not one of them reached out to any one of us to say, hey, can we get a one-on-one? Let's go sit. Let's build a relationship. I want to learn about you. You learn about me. Not one. So what do you expect? And then they're like, what? It didn't work. Didn't work. I mean, Erica, where would you and I be if 3, 6 months, even a year into practice, we'd be like, this isn't working. People don't listen to us. People don't want chiropractic. They just want medicine. Like all the complaints and all the things that come before us every day that we literally trudge like through mud every freaking day because we have such a strong belief in what we're doing for people. So again, like you have to consider your expectations. Like you don't just show up to a networking meeting twice and say, nah, not working for me. Like that is the dumbest thing on planet Earth.
Yeah, I agree. And okay, so simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I love that statement. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah,
I was listening to Sean Whalen yesterday, who's one of my favorite influencers, and he was talking about this same concept about health, but he was also saying Elon Musk flew or launched 3 rockets at, I think it's 300 million a piece, that all 3 of them failed. And after the third one, he says, I've got money for one more. And that's when they got the technology and the sophistication on that 4th attempt. He says, I've got money for one more. And it's profound because Dr. Paul and I are talking about this, trip around the moon that they're doing. That's neither here nor there, but it's the same. I know it's the, we won't even go there, but unless I got some tinfoil in the back, but
I got some too. We should,
I know.
We should literally come on one day with our tinfoil.
So, but the whole thing was like, he says, I've got one more. And I can tell you that when Dr. Paula and we go to the gym, we go to the yoga studio, we go out for a walk, we are in the mindset, I've always got a little bit more today. Like, yes, I'm going to eventually need to go and get some stuff done, right? But we're going to stay because we're not going to leave early. We're not going to not do the work, and we're going to show up day after day after day. And this goes for drinking water. I had a patient reach out and they're like, I got my 80 whatever ounces, whatever half her body weight is. I got 84 ounces of water in today. Like wrote me behind the scenes just to get a little kudos for that. And I'm like, great job. Do it again today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's what it takes. And it's boring, and it's mundane, and it's the discipline. I was getting to the end of my day yesterday. I'm like, that's the last thing I want to do is go to the gym right now. That is the last thing. But I do know if I can drive myself there, which that's the easy part, and I can get going, then I'm going to be so much happier because that's what my discipline gets me. Was I motivated? No. I'm sorry. Our temperatures dropped 40 degrees overnight from Tuesday till yesterday. No one's motivated, but guess what my discipline says? Get your ass there. Do the thing. And that's what I did, because that's what I do. And that's what you do. And that's who we are.
Yeah. It's so critical just to strip all these layers back and all the quick fixes, and I'll say get rich quick things. Cause that's what let's call it get healthy quick of that same mindset. It's, again, you've just gone and gone and gone and and again, we see this a lot with before GLP-1s, it was weight loss surgeries, where I suppose like GLP-1s are safer than a weight loss surgery, but I don't know. I can't speak to that. But either way, it's like you've neglected yourself for years and years and years, and then it suddenly becomes a crisis. Now, if in your mind you finally go, I can't do this anymore. Okay, great. But what we don't want you to get to is like you end up having a heart attack or cancer or some kind of catastrophic thing that then it's like, it's the wake up call. And sometimes I'll just say it's never too late to improve your health. If you're not drinking enough water and you start drinking more water, you are going to improve your health. But it's the quality of life that we're looking for. And I wanted to read some statistics so we can dive a little further,
Yeah.
because Dr. Eric and I we talk all the time about health span versus lifespan. So your lifespan is the number of years you live, and your health span is the number of years you live healthy within that lifespan. So a couple of things: we're living longer, not better. The average lifespan is 76 to 77 years old. That is not long when you look at all of the health hacks that we have. The average health span is 63 to 64. So that's 10 to 15 years less than your lifespan. And that's years of decline, pain, medication, dysfunction. And if we think about overall, we have 6 out of 10 adults that have some kind of just one chronic disease, and 4 out of 10 that have 2 or more. And these numbers are even higher for our kids. So we're not in a good place at all from a health perspective. And so these messages that we're having today and each and every week are so critical to make sure that we continue to shout from the rooftops that we have to stop. We've got to start taking our health into our own hands and stop relying on the outside in approach. Our Zyrtex and our, it's allergy season. I must be deficient in Zyrtec. I better start with that.
Yeah.
No.
So many things. Like if you look around and you've got something going on, it's so critical to look into the what is going on rather than we're not missing some medication somewhere. Like it's not what it's about. I had this patient, he has been under care with me for 6 weeks now, and they come in and gosh, I want to say this person is upper 70s or early 80s. And they come in, they're like, oh, I'm feeling a lot better. There's still this blah, 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 whatever. I don't need to talk symptoms. Everybody gets that. But, they're kind of like giggly about maybe not doing the stretches. And now, mind you, they're retired and they have the entire day to do what needs to be done, right? And they're kind of giggly about it. And I'm like, here's the thing. With all due respect, because I love you. This is exactly what I said. In all due respect, because I love you. I'm saying this stuff because my goal for you is independent living until the end of life. That is my only goal for you. Now, yes, I want pain to decrease and I want your body to be, and I want you to be on the dance floor, not in a wheelchair. I want you dancing with your grandchildren and your great-greats and all of that. But because I love you, my goal for you is independent living for the rest of your life. What can we do today to do that? And quite frankly, like the giggling stopped for them because they knew I was like dead nuts serious with it out of love. And also I'm like, yes, and it's water and it's sleep and it's this and it's that and it's this and it's that. And there's no excuses. I'm sorry, your excuses don't work here. And they're like, whoa, doc. But I got to tell you guys, when Dr. Paula and I start talking to our patients like this, they really get it. People are starting to really get it. Now, do they stay with it? No, they'll probably fail, and then they'll come back, and then they'll fail, and then they'll come back, and on about the 3rd or 4th time, they'll come back and they'll stay for life. That's just how it goes. So,
yeah, I have just from these like small little actions, and when we look at what people do, what they don't do, what they're willing to do, what they're not willing to do. I mean, these are all things that we struggle with, and so if we don't take that very I'll say healthy, maybe heavy parental hand. Like
yeah.
it's like that's how your parents, that's how we parent. It's how we were parented. It's like, when something's really important, your parents, like they came down on you but they did it with love because they love and they care about you. And we're the same way. I have a newer patient that I'm working with who she's coming to me for chiropractic and functional medicine. She's turning 60 in December. She feels horrible. Her weight is all over the map. She's got brain fog. Like she is all the things. And she said, I don't want to turn 50 feeling like this. And I'm like, okay, so first of all, she gave me a realistic goal. It's April and she wants to feel amazing by her 60th birthday in December. I'm like, that's great. That's 8 months. Like we got time to turn this ship around, and you're going to be like celebrating so many things by that time. So then as we're working with nutrition with her, she's texting me, she's like, oh, I take these protein shakes. And I'm always like, oh boy. And then she's texting me the things she's taking. Well, one of the things she sent me were these bars. Now, I'm not opposed to the ingredients in these bars, but they were 29 grams of sugar, of carbohydrates. And I'm telling her to stay under 100 carbs a day. And I said, so if you want just one of those, which she was eating 1 to 2 a day. And I said, if you want just one of those, you're breaking the bank. Like you're more than, a third of your carbohydrate intake for the day. That drives blood sugar. It creates brain fog. It pushes inflammation. Like you can't do that. It tears up your microbiome. There's so many different things that people have been duped into thinking are good for them, healthy, when really it's just another form of sugar. So no, the answer is no. And and she was like, okay, fine. And she cleaned out her drawer at work. And she's like, she's in my networking group. And I saw her this morning and she said, my husband said, you've created a monster. And I said, great, monsters unite. Let's do this. Because she's like cleaning out the cupboards and, cooking healthy. I'm like, well, clearly your husband needs it then too. So
yeah, I was talking to a patient yesterday who's gotten herself in so I'm sure everybody knows this person in their life somewhere where they've got enough stress and enough fear that they're like meek and sort of like drawn in, and they're like totally consumed in worry. And so I was talking to her. She started under care, I think 2.5 weeks ago, maybe 3 at this point. And so I think we talk about our new patients so much because the first 6 weeks of care, like literally turns people's lives around, right? So 6 to 12 weeks, that's only just the beginning. But anyway, so she was in yesterday. I said, okay, so here's the thing. I understand how much stress and how much worry and how much like that's bottled you in, and your sister has blah, 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 undiagnosed cancer for 10 years. I'm like, we all have 10 years worth of undiagnosed cancer. I didn't know how to get that message across to her, but I'm like, we're all growing cancer. It's just a matter of how do you get it to turn around? And it takes 10 years to grow cancer. So it's like, what are we doing every single day? But anyways, I said, so we need to get to Whole Foods and we need to do all of this. And we need to have, 3 like probiotic sources per day to build the gut back of what we're into and blah, blah, blah. And so she said, and I said, and then at 6 to 9 months, you'll just be beginning to heal the gut. You'll just be starting to heal the gut. You guys applied. I went through this entire process. It's been now 18 months for me where I was deep into protein bars. Because that's easy. I'm here. I'm there. I'm all over the place. I'd rather grab something and go than do anything else. But it's been like, it's been very, very few over the last 18 months, and Whole Foods has what's been healed my entire body, has brought the glow from inside back out through my skin. And I have my own experience now to share with people. I'm only at the beginning and I'm at 18 months. And so I was talking to her about this. And so she's like, okay, so I've started doing this, and my husband is on board with this and blah, blah, blah. And then she said to me, and now mind you, she's about 85 pounds soaking wet, but she's really tiny and super petite. And she looks up at me from the table after we're having this conversation, after I got her adjusted. And she said, so do you think vaping is bad? I'm like, I said, you're, and this, I just said straightforward, I'm like, you're killing yourself. It's slow, but all the oils from the vape go into the lungs and they never leave. So you're basically coating your entire lung lining, the oxygen carrying capacity. So then if your body isn't able to do diffusion of gases through the alveoli, through all those itty bitty sacs, then guess what? Your body's hypoxic, your adrenals are going to go up, your thyroid is like WTF, you're going to go for,
It's terrible.
you
Yeah.
can't do it. You
Just
can't do
keep
it. And
going.
I said, I'd rather you, if you need the nicotine for now before you, she said, I quit before. I'm like, then stop. But if you need the nicotine, I'd rather you be chewing gum or doing a patch than anything else to get, you cannot compromise your lungs like that in a way that they are not able to recover. And so she is like mid to upper 20s and she's at all of this. So anyway, I said, you need to start watching comedy. You need comedy relief on a regular basis to lighten your spirits. She bought a bunch of supplements after her first visit. She started those. She's getting adjusted and all these things. And I'm like, but then it's like, it's only just 6 to 9 months before you begin to heal.
Mm-hmm. And we've
So
talked about that in the past where the 6 to 9 months, so 80% of Americans are nutritionally deficient. And I can't remember the figure, the number of people who either accidentally get pregnant or just, voluntarily get pregnant under those conditions. And it takes 6 to 9 months to refill your tank, but you're trying to grow life. And so this is like, no, you can't do. So even if you're planning on having children, so many people who plan to have children still get pregnant unexpectedly, even prior to refueling their bodies. So that this should be constant. Somebody said earlier in the thread, Kaizen. I have loved that word, that Japanese word. It's everyday, small, tiny steps, constant, never-ending improvement each and every day. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Is this doesn't come down to, oh, I want to get pregnant, and so I better start taking prenatals. No, you should be thinking about eating healthy all the time, taking proper supplements, taking care of your health, and each and every day, not just because you think you want to get pregnant. Like, there's so many other effects that happen if you don't have a full nutritional tank.
I am going to take it towards just a little bit of a loop here to the fact that everybody's been on spring break, right? So all the schools, elementary school, middle school, and high school in Michigan, I don't know if it's across the board, but everybody's on spring break. So I can tell you, when I look back on our spring breaks, we did not have cellulite in middle school and high school, and especially elementary school. We did not have these chronic diseases. We did not have all of that stuff. So now you take these elementary, middle school, high school that are already sugar dysregulated, they're already nutritionally deficient, eating a bunch of crap, drinking Starbucks on the daily, and now they're going off to college, making it worse, getting married and getting pregnant. That is a sick. So then we also have PCOS and we have all of these period situations. And then we're going for fertility rather than fixing it from the inside out. And so when I watch the spring break pictures come across and there's all these heavy children, like and I'm not a parent, but I'm just going to loop myself into the generation of these parents, of these children that are in elementary, middle school, high school right now. What the parents of my generation have allowed to happen to these children, I have detrimental effects for every single one of those girls, every single one of those ovaries, and every single one of those eggs that are working through their system from the time they are born, and every single one of generations from here on out. It affects absolutely everything. And I see it just by spring break pictures. And I know you see it as well. We did not build our bodies back then. And now, mind you, we were not eating the best. I can tell you that because my middle school lunch was onion rings, take the onion out, dip that fried whatever, have a cookie and one of those thick rolls. I've talked about this before. And it's like, it's every single day. It's taught from the time that kids are making their own decisions. And if it's not taught right from the start, we're making an absolute disaster. And we have the ability to rewind that, but it takes every single day.
And it's even hard. It gets harder as you get older.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to your patient who's asking the question about vaping. She knows it's not healthy. Like she knows that. Like you can't ask that question because you know. So is it like, was she, looking for validation that no, you can keep going? Like, she knew she needed to come to someone of authority that she had a lot of respect for and ask the question and be told, so that it wasn't good. No, stop. And here's why. And I think too many, and these young kids, it's smoking's not the thing with the young kids. It's all about the vaping, which is
Right.
you
And
you can't.
it's like these fruit flavors and the marketing towards
Mhm.
them, and they're like, well, at least it's not a cigarette. And like, so it's not that she didn't know, but I really sometimes I'm like, I don't know if they're getting how like cigarette smoking through the 70s was like not that dangerous. Then it became really dangerous, then really effing dangerous. And now it's like, why would you even do that? Vape is just in the beginning parts of that. And the children, they don't. I don't want to say that she didn't know, but I think that they think that it's a lesser than how dangerous cigarettes are, right? And
Well,
I think
yeah,
that's
because the vaping industry told them it wasn't.
yeah, yes,
So yeah,
yeah,
it's much like when doctors were telling their patients to smoke because smoking was healthy. Like
yeah,
that was all big tobacco.
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
I wanted to read this too. So, when we talk about overcomplicating things and working with people with on their nutritional habits, and one question I get a lot is, well, what will I do for breakfast? I have cereal every day.
Oh,
And so I know, like no home should have cereal. I'm just going to say that. So I want to read you guys this. And if you didn't know this, please pay attention. Cereal was invented in the late 19th century by Dr. John Harvey Kellogg as a bland, healthy, and easy to digest vegetarian breakfast for patients at the Battle Creek Sanitarium in Michigan. Now, he had no scientific evidence for this, by the way. It aimed to, hang on to your hats. It aimed to combat widespread indigestion and, due to its bland nature, reduce high protein driven passions like masturbation. So this is what he was literally trying to like chemically castrate his patients by the use of cereal.
cereal.
So, I mean, it's like, yeah, skipping breakfast is way healthier than eating cereal. Like cereal, like, no, like, if you have cereal in your house, get rid of it. You do not need it. Yeah. So I know we
No,
have some
that
other
is so,
comments
it's so wild. And then they have taken the sales. So let's just talk about Kellogg's. They've taken the sales of that and they've lobbied over decades and decades to get that as like healthy start to the day. It's fortified. What? It's
right.
fortified with nutrients, with maybe some B vitamins and D vitamins that are completely chemically altered and not even your body's. It goes into your body, and your body's like, "What in the hell was that?"
Yeah. It's all
And then it's
synthetic.
like, you know what I'm going to do
Mhm.
with this synthetic? I'm going to put on some fat, and I'm going to put this out into the fat so I can protect myself from it.
Mhm.
Let me put
Mhm.
all these toxins out into the periphery. Let me put it out into the fat because it's so dangerous. So then as people go on cleanses, they're like, like I feel like crap. And the first few days is because all of those toxins stored out in the fat tissues are all being released back in. You got to get it out of the body. It's being stored in there because it's so dangerous. And so then I want to kind of bring this all the way back around to where does chiropractic fit into like this mundane, boring discipline of taking care of our health? And so if we can kind of spin on that a little bit of like, yes, people come in with pain, discomfort, and all of that, but what they do is they find bandwidth for more free will. So instead of going in and having just I don't even know how to reverse this enough to but I can talk about a new patient. She's got a 4 and a 6-year-old. She started under care. She's been tending to this 4 and 6-year-old and she's like, I want to get back to myself. I said, do you feel like you're redlining? Like you have this buzz going on in the system because we have misalignments in the spine and nervous system. And then these 4 and 6-year-olds then add to the buzz and do you feel short fused? And after one visit, she's like, now I can see what you were talking about. Like now I have more patience with my 4 and 6-year-old that are on spring break this week and driving her insane and asking her everything, even though her hubby is also off this week. Why are you asking me? Go ask your father. And she's like flying off the handles. But anyway, chiropractic adjustments start to help her manage the internal buzz so that and moms do the whole vibe for the entire house. I don't care who you are. Mom set all
Right.
of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that whole the whole thing with chiropractic is when you say bandwidth, it's better regulation, it's better decision making, it's better sleep, it's better mindset. You're calmer. You aren't as quick to snap at everybody, including maybe your annoying husband, who maybe if he decided to make dinner once in a while, not throwing shade at all husbands, but it's really, really a common scenario, super common, is that mom's got to work and take care of the kids and figure out dinner and grocery shop and. So no, it does. It gives you your mental bandwidth back. And it's so people, in our stressed out world, we're in a place where it's like, oh God, we probably need to get adjusted every day. But our nervous systems are pretty resilient, even if you went to the chiropractor once a week. But that's the whole thing is that if you're like, I'm just going to go in, I'm just going to go in once or twice, and then you disappear for 6 months. Well, your level of stress in life is far outweighing what we're doing to keep that mental bandwidth clear. And so what our goal is, okay, we have physical, chemical, emotional stressors in life, and we want to meet or exceed that with chiropractic. We want to get your nervous system here so that it does have better regulatory capacity to handle the physical, chemical, and the emotional stresses and not take such a toll on a cellular level. That's where disease comes in.
Mm-hmm. I can see your guys' comments. I can't comment. My keyboard gets blocked or whatever, not blocked, but I can't comment due to however I'm brought into this system. So, but thank you for.
I thought you were able to comment a couple weeks ago.
Some days I am, and some days I'm not, and I don't understand it. It just says cannot comment on any of your current destinations. Learn more, blah blah blah, whatever. It's fine. Thank you for all of your comments, though, today. We really appreciate this dialogue that's happening over here. So, okay, so in my wellness center, I have 10,000 square feet here. My office takes up about 2,000 square feet, but on the second floor, that they walk by our office, they go up a grand staircase here, and there's 2 therapists up there. There's that they do a lot of couples therapy and a lot of individual therapy. And I just think about this. If it was required to stop by and get adjusted before they went to therapy, it would be a very interesting experiment, if ever that was possible, to make that a human experiment of a couple gets adjusted and they go up for therapy. What is the tone of that room after the adjustment as compared to the tone of the room if they skip the adjustment? I would be so, and I get chills like that. Literally I got like a full witness on that. Like that should maybe even be an experiment that is done in our research somewhere of the vagal tone that increases, the bandwidth that is expanded instantaneously. It's not like you come in and get adjusted and then like you have to wait an hour and a half for that to feel that. Like people are walking back down our sidewalks, getting back in their cars, and their whole bodies are like that's what an adjustment really feels like. It brings the parasympathetics on board, but I'm just imagining the tone in the therapist room upstairs for the men, women, and couples. And then we have child therapy down the hallway. If they were able to get adjusted and then go, it would be so profound, you guys. It would be so profound how much more progress they would be able to make individually as couples and as children and maybe even as families, and then take that home to dinner time and then take that into evening time and take that into sleep. And you've got an entire changed household.
It's amazing too, because after we adjust people, this happens to me when I get adjusted, you get that first adjustment and immediately you go, Like it's your nervous system says, oh my God, finally,
Yeah.
I can relax. Finally, I'm
It's
safe. Like that's what your nervous system is doing. Are you safe or are you not safe?
Yeah.
And most of the time, the stress that is created by our outside world forces us to not feel safe on a very primal level. You're not consciously walking around going, I'm not safe, I'm not safe. But your symptoms, your signals are what's telling your body you're not safe. So when we talk about, are we complicating things? If you're having any of those signals, just get back to the basics.
Yep.
And again, like there's no Hail Mary. It has to be constant and continuous each and every day. It has to be intentional and disciplined, not necessarily motivated. And
Right.
and you have to learn in the process, and you have to ask questions. And like this most recent patient I have, who's really doing a great job. I'm super proud of her because she was that also like that, what am I going to eat? Because she's so used to eating the hyper processed, the sugar laden, carbohydrate driven, inflammatory creating foods. And yet but she recognizes that she wants to feel better than what she's been doing. So, that's really exciting. And you all can do that too. But you just have to make that first decision and first of all, get to the chiropractor, get adjusted, then go to your kitchen and look in your cabinets. And you should not have anything in there with artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors, any high sugar cereals or high sugar foods. Like get a garbage can and get rid of it. Salad dressings, spices with all the MSG in it, like all that stuff, clear that out. Because from an overcomplication thing, you're buying taco seasoning in a packet because you want ease, you want to make tacos easily, but yet it's causing an inflammation in your nervous system when really all you need is a few spices and you can make tacos without any of that garbage. So, again, like you can make tacos without a seasoning packet. Like it's not that complicated.
Yeah, I was reading something the other day. It was talking about like if McDonald's was using real meat from real cows, there's not enough cows on the planet.
I saw that too. Yeah.
What is that?
Uh-huh.
And so the more, the more like real whole food stuff that you can put in your body, the better. And then do that same thing the next day and 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 the next day. And then you get to 28 years in practice, 21 for me. And we have thriving practices out here, and we get to bring, what is that? 28. So 49 years of experience to you on a weekly basis. We so appreciate you being here because we get to take our message and go outside of our four walls. And so just thank you for showing up every week. It's our pleasure. It's our honor. And then we get off of here and we're like jazzed up. It's like, what we're doing is working, and we get to see it every day. We get to see miracles every day. And just thanks for coming and helping us every week by just commenting, sharing, subscribing, whatever.
It's been a game changer for both of us to be able to share our stories and experiences, because it is mundane. It's mundane coming like every day, coming to the practice and doing what we do over and over. It's fulfilling and rewarding, but it's also mundane. And so we've been doing this now coming on 3 years. It'll be 3 years in November. Wow. We have you guys, if we would have stopped after 3 months because we're like, it's not working. I mean, we're coming into 3 years of this, 2.5 years of this podcast. Like, this is really freaking cool. So you just have to not complicate it, stick with it, find your passion, move forward, find your why. What is it that's going to make you step up and take care of yourselves? Make change the habits that you need to change, adopt some new ones, get rid of some old ones, and start living the life that you deserve and expanding your health span, not just your life span.
Right. Love it. With that, we can probably drop the mic, go celebrate tomorrow. See you next week.
So Dr. Eric and I are going to the Tigers home opener tomorrow. So we are going to have fun. We're just going to go. We don't often get a chance to just go and wander. And so that's what we're going to do. So I'm sure you'll be seeing some video clips and some things happening on our crazy walk of shenanigans throughout the day tomorrow. So
yes. And if you're downtown,
right, you guys,
we see us.
What's that?
If they're downtown, come say hi to us.
Yes, let us know. We'll see you downtown Detroit. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for all your engagement and for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all the channels. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week.